All right, and we are live yet again. So just got back from walking my dog. Brief 1 hour break. We'll just basically pick up where we left off. Anyone joining us for the first time, I'm working on composable properties, and this was something that was already possible previously in Compose, or currently in Compose, where basically you can have, something like this. And the primary change here is that we're moving in a direction to where the annotation, the composable annotation, should be applied to the getter and setter specifically, and not on the property itself. And there's kind of a range of reasons why we might want to do this, but that's kind of what we're doing right now. So let's see, we had gotten decent chunk of the way implementing this on the front end. So we can see here we essentially wanted to deprecate the properties that are annotated as composable, but they should continue working at least for some period of time. Let's see, and so we got this test to pass. I'm gonna run a few other tests here. Where is this? This is the test. So let's see what the composable checker test does. See if there's any issues there. And I just realized something as I was playing fetch with my dog. If someone has a composable overload for a property on like an interface, or an override, I mean. So let's say you're overriding a composable val foo. If someone updates the composable val foo to the val foo with the composable getter, which is what we want them to do, we should maybe make the implementations backwards compatible with that. So again, it would spit out a warning, but if the override was annotated where the property was annotated, we should maybe let that work with the interface being the correct version. So we'll add a test for that, and that hopefully will just make this a little bit smoother of a transition if people are using composable properties somewhere. So okay. All right, so we just had a few tests in this test suite that we're doing this, so I'm gonna go ahead and like add these to the test, and I might just like duplicate the test to also include it with the correct version. I'm not sure, or maybe I'll just fix this test to use the different version. I'm not really sure what we should do, to be honest, but I think probably having both makes sense. And yeah. All right, so this is an extension property. Yeah, I mean, do we want to keep these tests or not? I'm not really sure. I think for these tests in particular, the declaration checker test, we should probably have both variants, but for these tests, maybe we should just fix them to be the right version. So what I mean by that is that we would turn this, whoops, into this. Let's do that. And then okay, so this one. Okay, it'll be good to make sure that this one continues to happen, I guess. Which it must be. Okay, so this is testing a call in a composable getter, which is good. Go ahead and remove that. Okay, and so this is good because this is basically what we still wanted to prevent against, basically, which is that you know, if you have like, this is the error that people end up writing, is where they'd make a composable call in an initializer to a property, and then they think, okay, making the property composable will fix this. But it's not true. The initializer isn't what you care about. And so before, even if it was marked as composable, we had this diagnostic here, which is good. In the future, when we won't allow a composable property, this will continue to be an error, so that's no problem. And then in the current world, they actually will get two errors, which is they'll have a deprecated composable property warning as well. And that's good. We want both. So why is this happening? I hate this. Yeah, no. I never know how to defeat this thing. All right. And then eventually we'll remove this deprecated error, but we'll also remove the annotation target, which then means that this deprecated error just becomes a invalid target error. And so we're good on all fronts. Okay, so if we rerun this test suite, that should work well. So let's go to the declaration checker tests, and I think we're gonna want to add a few tests. So like we just had this one, but this was just, you know, kind of a catch-all. So we should add a test for the thing that I just talked about, which is basically test marked prop in override getter, override marked getter. Sure. Okay, one of these tests apparently failed. Which one is that? Composable expected but not reported. Okay, so this is great. So this is a situation where one of our tests caught a problem, basically, which is that we have some code that will warn us if we're making an invocation, a composable invocation inside a non-composable function, which is what this is. But that didn't happen, so we've got a problem there. So let's fix that immediately, because that's a bigger deal. And that would happen in the call checker. That's what the call checker does. So we're missing composable invocation. So let's see. Oh, wait, that's not what we want, because this is a captured. Okay, so we expect a legal call to happen, but it's not. So let's find out where a legal call is called. Let's just check all these cases to see if it would make sense. So this doesn't have anything to do with lambdas. So I don't think that's a problem. Doesn't have anything to do with an inlined argument. I guess it's just all these things. Okay, I think it's one of these issues. So, so I wonder if is composable invocation just maybe isn't happening. So I think it's probably here, which is like this variable is a function resolved call is I think what properties end up as. Maybe. Let's see. Let's just run debug on that. See if we end up here. That's part of the problem. It's a candidate descriptor. property getter. Yeah, I wonder what the... All right, let's just see what happens when you set a breakpoint there. Hey Gabriel, how's it going? I'm good. I was enjoying my time off. Now it's back to work. How about you? Okay, so this is a new resolved call. Whatever that is. So it seems like it's not going to go down this path, I don't think. But let's be careful in case it does. And then let's get the candidate descriptor. Okay, so the candidate descriptor. Oh, this is the invocation of the composable annotation itself. So it's not what we were looking for. This, on the other hand, is what we were looking for. This is the public val foo. So let's see where we end up here. Okay. All right, so candidate descriptor is a property descriptor. It's public val foo. So this is interesting. I mean, I think that we should add some tests that work on composable sets, because it looks like the candidate descriptor for a resolved call for a get is the property itself. And I wonder if the resolved call for a setter is also the property. And in that case, we would need to figure out if the call itself is a getter or a set, like if it's a get or a set, and then check the corresponding getter and setter instead. So we're ending up here. Right here. The other thing we might want to check out is, like, what is the resulting descriptor? So the resulting descriptor is also the property itself. It's not the getter. And I thought that it was going to be the getter, but I was wrong. So, okay. In that case, this is what's wrong, right? Or is it? I guess it's... yeah, because the descriptor isn't marked anymore as composable. So, okay. So that's where our problem is. Let's go ahead and set up a test to do the assignment as well before we write code for this. Sorry, Gabriel wrote back. Gabriel says, I'm getting kicked in the ass from GitHub Actions. Can't find anything on the web about Java lang, no class def found error, element traversal. So is this no class def found error? Are you getting this? Is this like internal GitHub Actions code, or is this some exception that's coming from your code that you're trying to create a GitHub action for? Okay, where's our test? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add to this test, let's just add a bar that is a var, and field. I mean, because this is kind of interesting because it's like it's new code that we haven't been able to write before. So interesting. So let's return the field there, and then let's mark that 1, 2, 3. So we want foo, and then let's also call bar. Like really, you know, this is like kind of weird code, so let's just like make it a little less weird. And then we'll say bar equals 2, 3, 4. All right. Sure, why not? You know, I guess now that I'm actually now that I'm writing down this code for the first time, I'm wondering if the setter is a bad idea. Just because, I mean, what this promotes. So something I said like an hour and a half ago was, I can't think of any good reason of why we should disallow set, like, because it's easy enough to attach a meaning to it, right? It's just a function, just like any other function. It accepts one parameter, you know, whatever. As I just wrote this down, I now know what my reason is, I think. Like, basically, this is promoting people to execute side effects in composition, which I don't want to promote. Like, reasonably speaking, a git is rarely side effectful, right? It usually just, you know, it returns a value, and you know, it's idempotent. Oh, well, I guess a set is idempotent as well, but usually. But what this is encouraging people to do is to set fields in composition, which we really don't want people to do, because composition will likely happen on a background thread, and the actual composition might not complete, it might get aborted for some reason, and so we actually want side effects to happen elsewhere. So I'm now convincing myself that we should disallow, like, maybe down the road we allow it, but right now we should disallow composable setters. Now maybe we can allow composable getters on properties that have fields. That might make sense. But, you know, I might also be convinced that that's not a good either, but I'm not sure. I mean, I'll need to think about this more, but I mean, the least controversial thing to do might be to just preserve the restrictions that we had before, which was on properties with fields or setters. Yeah, maybe. Okay. Either way, I still want to run this test, just because I want to see. I want to see what the candidate descriptor is in that code path we were just in. So let's do that. Where were we? We're here, yeah. Right. So this is unlikely to get called. So this will be composable. We'll probably run into a few more of these calls. Okay, no, this is get bar. Oh, wait. Oh, this is field. Interesting. Cool. Synthetic field descriptor. Okay. Oh, Gabriel responded. Hey, Abir, how's it going? Gabriel says, it's from when I try to build my app using GitHub Actions. It fails on Android merge debug resources with this exception. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it sounds like, just based off that error, it sounds like, whatever the class path is, it's not set up right. So, it's maybe there's some dependencies missing or something. I'm not sure. Okay. So all right. So we don't care about the synthetic field descriptor. Another composable. Order value, colon int. Okay. Okay, so here's the one. So foo. So this is the getter, which is fine. So I think the next one will also be a getter. Oh, that just went down there. Oh, there's print. Okay, so this is bar. This is the getter. Right. So argument. Value arguments is 0. Yeah. Well, okay. All right. Now here, value arguments is 1. Oh no, this is print. Ugh. All right. We're gonna get there. Okay. This is the set. So it's still the candidate descriptor. Or it's the property itself is still the candidate descriptor, which is interesting. I mean, so we can look at the number of arguments if we want to figure out if it's the setter or getter. I'm wondering though if there's like a, resolved call. What is it called? Oh, this. Okay. So like, getter. Okay, So I don't see any obvious way to determine if it's, or like any utility method to determine if it's the getter or the setter. So we're gonna have to do that ourselves. And I think what I want to do here is, so here I want to say is getter, and this will be arguments dot size equals 0. So if there's only or is empty, if there's no arguments, then it's the getter. And that'll still work for like extension properties, because that'll show argument, but like an extension receiver or something. So okay, so we will say if is getter. So in this case, we're gonna do candidate dot getter dot has composable annotation, or this thing, and then this. Well, yeah, that's fine. And then if it's the setter, which getter the setter is nullable, but hey there, Raven. How's it going? So I think I've convinced myself that I don't want setters. I don't want composable setters. I think that that's a bad idea now, even though I didn't before. So, and this shouldn't be too controversial because that's already how it is. So I'm not changing anything. So if it's the setter, I'm just gonna say false here. But getter equals. So I'm gonna say and getter is not null. Then we return the getter as composable annotation. And so then after we deprecate the property thing, then we'll just remove that, and then it'll be fine. And now this is the correct behavior. Okay. So let's go back here. Where's our test? Test. There. So now we will get back here, and this test should now succeed, is my hope. And then after this, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go remove property setter as a valid annotation target. So just proactively, I'm gonna remove this since that part of the error message no longer makes sense. Oh, okay. So this one passed, but this one we needed to move this one, so we just forgot that, and now it should work. So I'm gonna go back to our declaration checker and figure out if we need to add anything. Because if they mark the setter as composable, like, we're fine, because it's not about. And I think we'll want to tweak this logic a little bit. Or we'll want to have similar logic elsewhere. Yeah, okay. All right, so this test is passing now, so that's good. So we kind of fixed that bug for us. I'm gonna get rid of setter here. Yeah. And I think I'm just going to be as I'm going to change as little as possible in terms of what we allow. So I'm going to keep preventing fieldback properties. Yeah, because it just doesn't seem like a great idea. Like, it's promoting the usage of non-thread safe fields in compose land. So I just think it's bad. So we'll prevent that. Great. Maybe in the future, we'll have some use for it, and we'll be more confident about that, and we'll allow it. But it's better for us to be conservative at this point and prohibit it. Okay. So we're checking to see if the property is composable, or yeah, okay. Okay, this is fine. And see down here. That's what we just changed. Okay. Hey Dominic, how's it going? So we actually want to keep these checks. All right. So what I want to do is I want to kind of emulate these checks in this function here. So let me do that. And then, yeah, basically, in here, what I can do is I can say if descriptor is a property setter descriptor, then I just return. I'm like not gonna well, okay, actually not quite. So if all right, I guess what we want to do is we want to look up the property really. So let's just say if it has a composable annotation, then we're gonna do a few more things, or if it doesn't, we're gonna return. So it has a composable annotation at this point. So then let's get the property, and that'll be corresponding property. All right. And then what we want to say is if, well, okay, so then it's basically just what we have here. Declaration. I guess there might not be descriptor corresponding property. I guess is there no way to find the initializer from the property descriptor? It's compile time initializer. All right. Let's see what we can do with. We can at least just do the as far. So, all right. I guess both want the PSI element. So let's name this property descriptor. And then property PSI, which this we can say is the declaration that parent as KT property. That should be fine. And if that doesn't exist, then we'll return here, which I think it should. So then let's see, what do we want to do? So we have property PSI. Grab the initializer. Okay, so then we just do exactly this, which is what we were doing before. Okay. I think that's good. I guess now we can go ahead and run our declaration checker tests. So let's just run all the tests again. Night Smear says, "Hey Liam, when do you think the next alpha of Compose might be out? Hope you have a great day. Thanks." Yeah, so it should, I think, be like a week from Wednesday. You know, basically we took a bit of a break because of the holiday and everything. We don't want to release a bunch of code when like a lot of people are like off work and stuff like that. It just introduces problems. And so we sort of skipped a week. But I think the next release is getting cut this Wednesday and will be out the following Wednesday. While this compiles, I'm gonna be right back. All right, we're back. Thank you for that. And actually, test just finished. So here we go. Okay, so all of the declaration checker tests passed. That's good. I'm gonna run all the checker tests again as well, just in case, you know, we accidentally broke one of those. And then if not, we'll start adding a few tests. So as I mentioned, what I wanted to add is this one. So test marked property and override of a marked getter. Yeah. So what that means is if we have an interface here And so the interface is marked correctly. Which, for example, is like this. Foo. So that's marked correctly, and then impl implements a. And then here what we have is we have override val foo. And in this case, we do the wrong thing, which is we do composable override val foo get equals 1, 2, 3. So what we want is we want this to be legal, even though these are like kind of different signatures. In this like intermediate period where we're like allowing both, we want these to kind of agree with one another, just to make it a little bit easier for people to migrate. And let's go ahead and here, I'll just do that. So that'll be one thing, and then we'll test the inverse as well, which I think is probably less important, but you know, it's fine. So let's test marked getter in override marked prop. Oh, and then yeah, okay, yeah, let's test this. So well, that and that. All right, let's run this first, see what happens. All right. So this is good. I mean, it's good that we test this, right? So this gives us conflicting overloads, and which is totally reasonable, but let's make sure that it doesn't. So that's gonna end up here. Is there anywhere else that we call it? 3 places. Okay, 3 and 2. All right, so we can probably figure out why this is happening, but okay. So if we check the property and it has a composable annotation, but the override doesn't, I mean, makes sense, right? Not a surprise this isn't working. So skip this part. All right. So in this case, the property accessor doesn't have the composable annotation. And the override does. And so yeah, I mean, so maybe what we want to do is we just want to get this stuff up front. so that we have it. Okay, let's do that. And I mean, none of this is too expensive, so it's not a big deal. Okay, let's parent has composable notation. Here, let's just property. So what we'll do here is we'll say if composable properties and property descriptor as composable annotation. All right. So in this case, I guess we just want to take like the and of, or the or of both and compare them. Yeah. So we'll get the override and override. All right, let's say override has composable annotation. I mean, these are really long verbose names, but I don't care. I think it's fine. I think it makes it more obvious what's going on. So Nightsmere says about the Jetpack navigation for compose. If I am right, we can navigate from composable to composable, right? I tried to navigate from one composable to another following official documentation, but either I got it wrong or I'm not understanding it. So yes, this should be possible. Maybe I'm not sure, like, I guess without seeing the code that you've written, I'm not sure that I can help too much with what's going on, but I don't know. Maybe, I mean, maybe if you posted some code, I might be able to point you in the right direction. I'm not sure. So, okay. Override has composable annotation, and then let's do override parent. Or let's just do this. So override composable. So override that has composable annotation, or override dot corresponding property dot has composable annotation. So we're taking the or of both of those, and if that's not equal to or property as composable annotation, let's just name that this composable. Lots of variables going on here, but okay. If this is not equal to that, descriptor override. yeah, it'll be interesting to see what this error looks like with the two overrides. I think the annotation will be included if it's on the property accessor. I'm not sure, so that'll be something we might have to battle with. We'll see. Okay, and then those are fine. So that's that. So I think that'll get this test to pass. Let's find out. Okay, so there's still okay, let's see. Oh, I guess it's yeah, it's coming from the other side. Is that right? Yeah. So basically we need to do what we did here, but do it here. So, all right. This is composable. Let's just see. Getter. So this would be has composable annotation or the getter also has the composable annotation. So we'll say that's true. Why is this yelling at me? Variable expected. Oh, right. Double equals. Okay, so that's that. And then this is a little bit easier. So then we say override is composable, which is going to be override that has composable annotation, or override dot getter dot has composable annotation is true. Okay, and so then we say if override is composable is not equal to this is composable. Okay. Let's try that. Third time's a charm. Nate Samir says, I will try investigating more later. Currently on mobile, so can't show the code, but thanks. Also, regarding text field API, when pressing the next action in keyboard, the focus does not shift to next text field automatically, and we have to do it manually. Will it be implemented automatically in future releases? Yeah, this is a really good question. I brought up the same thing actually when I started messing around with text field, and I've been told that it will be implemented. This is basically still an in progress API, and the goal is for that to be automatic. So, good question. All right, so that test passed, and then let's just run the other direction, which I think should also work. Oh, but it doesn't. Okay. Oh, well, that's fine. That's just because it shows this deprecated composable property, which shows up here, which actually, this is a really good point. The other one should also have this warning. So we want this one to show a warning. So like, cause it like basically this is still doing something kind of wrong. So we should make sure that they fix it. We just shouldn't make it a compiler. So just go ahead and run this one. But so what this means is this is when we will have, like, where do we want to check this, I guess? I guess we'll do this in check property, which is where so what we'll say is if we'll do an else if so in this else case, override is composable and this is composable are equal, but if the override if the getter is composable, oh, okay. I guess what we want to say is if override is composable, so just period. If it's composable at all, and oh, but we don't want to like we don't want to ever run into the okay, so let's just say has composable overrides false. If override is composable. Okay, so yeah, basically, if this ends up being true, then one of them is composable. So then here we say if has composable overrides and not has composable annotation. Oh no, if it does have the composable annotation. Oh, so I guess here what we want to, like, basically we just want to do this always. doesn't matter. And this, we don't actually need to keep track of this. Yeah, so basically if you've marked a property as composable, then we're gonna throw a warning. But if your override is composable, then we'll deal with that properly. So I think that gets what we want. Let's see. Her Nosj says, hi, where can I see previous episodes of Composable? Assuming you're asking about like previous episodes of this stream, you can find me on YouTube, and all of the videos are kept on YouTube for eternity, so you can watch them there. Let me pull up my YouTube channel link here. Posting that in the chat in case you want to take a look at it. Night Samir says, great to know, and I love the fact that it already supports hiding keyboard when pressing outside text field by default, which we have to do manually in View System. I think the Android development team is doing great work with Jetpack libraries, specifically Compose, and is making my life as an Android developer more fun and less frustrating. Really appreciate the hard work and can't wait to use Compose in production. Yeah, thanks, Night Samir. I really appreciate that. Okay, so this resulted in a warning there, which is what we wanted, and a warning here, which is what we wanted. Awesome. This is looking good. All right, let's go ahead and run the whole suite. All right, what do we got here? So, right. So non-composable property. I mean, that's fine. So we basically just we're reporting 2 errors here now, which is fine with me. Gosh, I can't deal with this. The auto line indent thing should just absolutely never happen when I'm inside one of these 3 string things. Anyway, super annoying. Okay, so we get conflicting overloads. Oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting. So we're like sort of double marking the errors here. Not a huge deal. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I think basically that's what we need to do. Get conflicting overloads. Okay. Yeah, I mean, so basically it doubles up on these errors, which is fine because it's only gonna happen when there's already an error. Okay. So that. All right, I think that'll get that test passing. Let's try that real quick. Nightsmere says thank you and sorry for taking up chat screen by myself. No, please don't apologize for that. I'm just glad you're asking questions and interacting. It's no problem at all. Okay, so I guess we're writing down too many here. Deprecated composable property reported, but oh, yeah, I see. So that ends up here. Let me just put that incorrectly in the wrong spot. All right. Oh my gosh. Someone please help me out here with this. These spaces just killing me. All right. What do you think? That one gonna work? Let's try it. All right, passed. So good there. And since we had issues on that, I'm gonna go ahead and run this as well because might have some things to update here. And so one of the things we're gonna have to do is once we get this all working, and so after this, I'm gonna add a few more tests. Then I'm gonna fix the back end because the back end's not gonna work properly with this. We have to figure out how to get that going. And then I need to actually update everything in the runtime to like basically everything in our whole code base that uses a composable property. I need to update to use the right syntax, just because we'll pass our build or we'll fail our build on warnings. So I'll need to fix that before we can ever merge this. Okay, so that's working. So let's add a few tests. We added these, which are good. Let's add just like a few of the error ones that we want. Oops. So actually, I'm gonna duplicate some of our existing tests. So property with initializer. So that's that one, which, since we can just keep this as part of the same test, and I'll just add a second property here, which will be a bar, and this one. Oh, well, so this one, yeah, so let's have an initializer, and then let's add a composable get, which is just returning the field. I think that's valid, Colin. So what I want to happen here is, like, basically what we decided is that if it has a backing field, can't be composable, and that includes the getter. So this should spit out an error, but only this one. So let's see, and I think it might put it in a different place, which is fine. I'm not that worried about that. Okay, cool. So that worked. Aren't any properties here, so it doesn't matter. So here's another one. Property with just getter. So we'll do the same thing here. We'll add another one. And this is kind of what we want here, which is to have the getter. Okay. So that should work. And so then we have a test with a getter and setter, and we'll add a few options here. So we'll have one with a so basically it's saying that there can never be a setter. Let's just try that and verify. Redeclaration. Oh, right. What? Where did this come from? Oh, here. Okay. We'll call that foo. And so this will be, it'll be a property with a composable get and a non-composable set, which should give us this composable var issue. And then let's do a third one with composable on both. And a fourth one with composable just on set. And let's just call these like BAM2, BAM3, and BAM4. Okay. And we're probably gonna get a few different things here. So this one, composable var, should show up as an issue. This one will probably get some like annotation target issue. And same thing here, although this might not show up here. I'm not sure. Let's find out. Okay, so wrong annotation target, which is what we were expecting, and so that shows up here. Composable. JB Pratt is making fun of my go-to naming for things. I feel like I don't know. I think everyone has these like foobar baz things. I have like foobar, baz, ku kux, bam, I don't know. What else do I have? I always have like random things like that. I'm really bad at like coming up with examples. I like my head immediately goes to like foo and bar, and it's like really bad. Like I feel like good representative examples of like real code is always preferable, but you know, sometimes that I find that hard. And I just don't know what to do. Okay, so composable var, this does still show up here, which I think is fine. Not a big deal to me. And let's see. What do we get? Wrong annotation target. Okay, yeah, also here. Makes sense. So rerun that. I think that should work. Then these are the tests that we added. And then missing composables on override. We should duplicate this test. Yeah, for the other one. All right. So I'm just gonna, again with the naming, I'm gonna do bar, and fake bar. And then keep that. So what I want to do here is have a composable get. No deprecated anything. Non-composable. Okay. So we've got that. And then what are we gonna have here? So this stays the same, nothing different. Composable property, so I think this ends up moving. Well, we'll see, actually, because I think we get like 2 of them, so I think that'll stay there. Okay, and then what I want to do here is just put the composable on the get. Which of course this thing is gonna eat me alive here. Do that. Alright, let's see how that works. few things wrong here. Interesting. What? Oh, not reported. Okay, yeah, so this one went away. So we're good on that. Conflicting overloads. I see, so it includes the composable. So that's not a problem. Do that. Let's see what happens there. Of course, something is wrong with this space nonsense. All right. Okay, so what's happening here? So there's what did I do wrong here? Oh, I included the space. Okay. All right. So that works. Okay, so now I think we're ready to go look at the back end. Which honestly, I'm not sure how hard this is going to be. Let's figure this out. So we want to look at the param transformer. So this is the transform that takes composable functions and adds basically some synthetic parameters to them to let compose do its thing. And so we do that also for the getters and setters, and we need to now go and find that code and make sure that it handles a a non-composable property with a composable setter or getter, whereas before it just handled a composable property. So I honestly don't remember where, like, exactly where I did all that stuff. So let's just try and find that first and make sure we understand how we're doing things. Okay, so it looks like this lowering really doesn't do anything with properties or anything like property specific. What it does is it just works on functions, which a getter is a function. So let's figure out. What is it function? Okay. I don't remember writing that code, but all right. So is composable callable? This is probably where it checks. And this is marked as composable. Aha. Okay, so, and this is stuff we already changed. So this looks at the getter descriptor and all that. Okay, so that might work properly. Okay. I mean, what I'm seeing here is that this might work out of the box with what we've done. Well, so let's now also look at let's look at the function body transformer. I'm not sure if this really needs anything or not. So I'm just curious, like if I search for property, visit property scope. All right, nothing crazy. That's interesting. I haven't really thought about the composable contract, but so we've got, there's a, so we have an annotation called composable contract, which, you know, basically is built to go alongside anything that can be marked as composable. And so this probably needs to be updated. to include property getter. Property getter. Yeah. And so I'm gonna say, all right, this is marked as deprecated in our silly deprecated manner. And then we'll add property getter here. I'm just gonna put those side by side. Okay, so we do need to like handle this kind of. I mean, maybe it's really just a matter of like deleting code. Like basically, we can probably get rid of this if block. After, yeah, after that. Okay. Where else do we use property? Frame size. All right. I think the backend might actually just work out of the box. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna update all of the composable properties like in the project and submit that CL or push that CL and see if the test pass, I guess. Just kind of go with the flow after that. Okay, so to find all of these, what I'm gonna do is let's do a full search here of composable val. I'm gonna do it with regular expressions. Yeah, all right, cool. So here we go. We've got 46 occurrences. Nice. And we will see how this goes. This is going to be kind of annoying. I think it might, the IDE might mark all these as errors. Okay. Well, I'm gonna get this building and then we're gonna decide whether or not that's a blocker that we should fix first before merging. Okay. As I'm doing this, I'm gonna just completely ignore whatever code surrounds any of this, because I feel like I could get distracted and find some usage of a composable property that I disagree with, but we'll leave that for another day. Regardless, I don't know if that'll be the case or not, but it's just possible for sure. Okay, so here I want to say composable get. Is that a thing I can do? Nice. Okay. All right. Cool. I mean, these are the types of, like, you know, code base wide refactorings that, like, are never, like, are not that hard. Like, you know, for some reason I see a lot of people like really afraid to just like make a sweeping change, like an atomic change, just like all at once, even when it's like kind of easy to do. And I don't know, I never like understood that as, like, you know, just going and updating whether it's 46 call sites or, you know, 1,000 or like whatever. Like, it's just, I don't know, it takes like an hour or something, like, you know, worst case, and you know, maybe you automate it depending on like the overall number, like that makes sense. But I feel like a lot of people just avoid these type of changes altogether because they're, like, you know, scared or worried that they'll that they're just going to be like unachievable. And I think most times they're just not that hard. So there'll be some other tests here, like this is good to see. So we've got the resolver tests. We should just go ahead and run some of these and see how they show up. So the checker tests and stuff, like, we already dealt with those. These tests we should probably just like update. So I'm gonna update these. Because, like, so in this, like, I could double up all these tests and just verify that both work. But because this is like a deprecation cycle, like, eventually we're going to get rid of this older behavior anyway. And so I don't think there's too much risk in the tests that aren't like asserting directly on it to like just move it over to the new form. I think that's okay. All right. These. And even this, I mean, it wouldn't be that hard to make like a find replace regular expression that would work like reasonably well for all of these cases, but it's just 46 cases, so I'm not worried about just going through it manually, and it'll kind of refresh my memory in all the places that are exercising this code. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make sure to keep this window open because I want to execute these tests just before wasting my time uploading everything. So like the lowering tests, the resolver tests, param signature tests, stuff like that. Okay. Okay, so let's run the lowering tests. Now this first one's probably going to take a little bit to compile since we changed a number of stuff. We changed a bunch of source outside of the compiler and stuff, so it's going to have to compile more modules. But that's all right. So anyway, while we are waiting for that, if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. I am curious, like, is everyone watching? Like, are you following this relatively well, or is it? I don't know. I mean, it's like weird because a lot of stuff probably go past pretty quickly because it's just tweaking an existing feature and like reworking code that already exists and I already have a decent amount of context on. And so I could imagine it being a little bit difficult to follow. I'm just curious if people feel that way or not. I forgot I had to mark these tests as ignored last week. I need to go fix that. It's a problem. This is like actually a pretty important test suite. But it looks like a race condition or something of some sort started happening in our CI, so we had to mark them as ignored. Okay, validation failed on runtime compile debug. So it's good to know. Let's see. Be nice to get the full stack trace here. Here we go. Is there an inner exception? Okay. Check function. Okay, so there's an orphaned getter setter. Okay. Christopher Rusinski says, this is my first live from you. I understand you build off of each video, so it's hard to follow. But I'm looking forward to UI app videos more. Yeah, I mean, definitely for the folks that are more interested in the dog fooding type stuff, I could, like, I definitely get that, like, that makes sense that is more interesting than the compiler work to most people. And typically I have a lot more viewers on the dog fooding stuff. But like it's easy for me to do these videos as well. And there is like a smaller subset of people that is actually really interested in the compiler work, but they're just often not the same people. And so it's really easy for me to make videos about, that's my day-to-day job. Like that stuff I have to do this regardless. The dog fooding, I don't really have to do it, but I think it's really good that I am doing it, and I want to keep doing it to gain all that context that I do. And so the streaming helps me sort of, I don't know, keep me honest, or like keep me on pace to like actually do the dog fooding regularly. But it's very different content, and the dog fooding stuff is way more approachable. And so, you know, I certainly get that, but I am trying to, you know, I'm trying to make this work like potentially interesting to people that want to try and follow along. Let's see. So JB Pratt says, yeah, I don't do Kotlin dev or really much Android work. Yeah, Krister, it's a lot easier following the dog food project streams. Yeah. Seeing a lot of the compiler work is very interesting in my opinion though, especially since I'm not doing any Android development at the moment. Yeah, JB Pratt, that makes sense. I'm curious if you don't do Kotlin dev or much Android work. I'm curious like what like I watch my streams that doesn't do one of those things, so I'm curious what it is it about these streams that seem interesting to you. Aaron Soda says, I really like your videos, please keep doing it. Yeah, I appreciate that, Aaron. Definitely no plans to stop. I've been the quantities significantly as I'm like doing this house remodeling and stuff like that. And so it's just been harder to keep up with the schedule that I had, but definitely once I move back in my house and stuff, I should be back to the regular schedule, which I feel like, you know, I was doing, and it wasn't too much of a burden or anything like that. It was easy to do. And Christopher Osinski says, I love your videos. It's nice format and it works for you. Yeah, I mean, that's the main thing, is that it's like, it's just, like, it's not like it's no effort for me, but it's definitely easier. Like, it's very easy to, you know, to just hit stream and not have to worry about like editing the video content and stuff like that, which is still like, edited video content is still something I want to do. I just haven't had enough time, and that's exactly why I like this format, is because even when I'm short on time, I'm still able to do it. So it looks like our JB Pratt says, Jetpack Compose and Swift UI are so enticing to me. I've enjoyed my time spent in the stream. Relax, keep it up. Yeah, appreciate it. Okay, so let's go back to IntelliJ. So we're kind of in a tricky spot right now, because I kind of maybe over eagerly thought that things were gonna work in the back end, and so I went ahead and updated all of the declarations in the code base that were them, and now the problem is that when I tried to run these tests, I get a validation failed. Which actually bad, because it was only an animation that validation failed. Okay, so this is, I think we can walk this one back, but sometimes this happens where I'm trying to run a test, and the tests actually have a dependency on all of Compose UI in order to run the tests, and so it's possible that you get yourself in a bad state where you could never run the test because the dependencies never end up compiling, and so then all you're given really is an error message, and that error message, like, you can't debug this or anything like that. Like, you only have the stack trace, so it's a bad spot. But because it happened in animation is like a higher level, it's a higher level module, so we can probably figure out like which declaration is hurting us here. So if we go and look, let me pull this up. So if we look at our get status, so this shows us the, what do I want here? I want to do this. Okay. So this shows us the files that we've changed. And I'm probably looking for one in animation. Although, unfortunately, it doesn't. So I guess what's weirding me out is I didn't change anything in animation. So the fact that this is showing up this way is a little bit weird. So what is this happening? You know, maybe this is the problem. Well, I don't know. So that should get rid of that warning, but we still have this validation issue, which is no small issue. So this is happening here, where we're ending up with a property that is like orphaned essentially. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take all of like the source code level changes and put that, I'm just gonna like stash those changes. So that shouldn't be that hard. Let me so everything in material. And then ambient. So composable and composable contract, we want to keep those. And then let's say composer and effects, we want to add those to here. All right, so these changes, I'm gonna stash them. Oh, I did this wrong. Okay. I want to commit everything else first. So everything in compose compiler. And the composable and composable contract changes. Okay, so all of those I'm gonna put in a commit. Move composable property annotation to pair. Okay, and then everything here, I'm gonna stash. Okay, so now what I'm gonna try and do is I'm gonna try and run the same test, which I think should succeed because I haven't changed any of the source code and the backend hasn't really changed. And so I think I should get some warnings, some build warnings, but it should compile correctly and the test should succeed, I think. So we're gonna do that first and then kind of figure out if there's some problem that we've introduced that like with the backend. We'll try and create a test or something that or at least get some stuff working and see if that works. Okay, so the tests are running now, which means that the all of Compose UI basically compiled successfully, which I kind of expected. I mean that's an indication that like we didn't irreversibly change anything in the compiler, but what it means is that there's when we update things to when we actually move the composable declaration, that's getting compiled in a slightly different manner. So we'll have to figure out what that is, like what's breaking. And if we need to, we can do like a binary search on the like a git bisect basically on like the compose UI changes, so that we at least know like which change is causing the issues. But that'll take a while. That won't be a very entertaining stream. Which actually, I mean, I think on that note, I'm gonna sign off for the day. I'm gonna go get some dinner. So yeah, that'll be it for today. I'm not sure if we're gonna do more live on this particular task. We'll see where I get and how much more work it is, but yeah, hopefully this was useful, interesting, anything like that to any of you. And otherwise, I will see some of you later this week. I definitely would like to stream Wednesday. We'll pick up on some dog fooding stuff. Maybe, time pending, tomorrow I'll do something. I'm not sure, but anyway, keep on the lookout for those things. And appreciate all you that were sticking around today. And I'll see you next time. Cheers.